In the Passover Seder, the second item that after we've already blessed the wine, has to do with the washing of hands. You actually do it twice. Once is urchatz and once is rachatza. And it's normally one is done with a blessing and one is without a blessing. The blessing would be Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitzanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu netilat yadayim. And it's usually done pouring the water, right hand, left hand, right hand. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So we have just pouring. Right hand, left hand, right hand. Okay, thank you. And then, of course, drying it off. Now, what's interesting, of course, as we look at this, is that Yeshua, when he was at his Passover Seder with his disciples, he did something a little different. He looked at them, he was trying to explain to them the meaning, and they weren't listening, they weren't understanding. And he said, what's going on? It turns out they were arguing among themselves as who was the greatest. They were having a little ego clash among, the great apostles of Yeshua. So he gets up in the middle of it, walks over, takes off of his robe, and gets down on his knees and starts to wash their feet. They are shocked. And he turns to them, of course, and says, I am giving you an example for you to do like me. And he didn't mean to start another ritual of washing people's feet. He means to stop our ego and our pride and our competition and to walk in humility and love, because that's the message of who he is. He says, learn to do as I've done. And that's a wonderful lesson that we could learn from this today. And when he finished, he said to them, this actually leads up to a new commandment. Verse 34, he said, in John 13, verse 34, he said, Mitzvah chadasha ani noten lachem evu ze kamo she'ahavti etchem. He says, and a new commandment I give to you. Love one another as I have loved you. Well, of course, the commandment to love one another is not new. That goes back to the book of Leviticus. But what he's saying is, I want you to love so much that you're going to do it the way I've done it here, where I give myself totally, unconditional, sacrificial love in humility and generosity for others. That's the faith of both Judaism and Christianity. That's the foundation of all our values. And you know, in both Judaism and Christianity, everybody's washing their hands and dunking and dipping and splashing. It all, to my mind, doesn't mean much if we don't get this one thing right. To love one another and to walk in humility and generosity. Let's do it, and then we'll really be keeping the Passover Seder.